Bronte, welcome to Marketing for Business podcast.
Hello, Scott. It's weird to be in front of the camera.
Yep.
Been editing these for about a year now.
This is cool for me because, like as Bronte said, Bronte's on the editing side of the Marketing for Business podcast, but also, like Bronte, you essentially run our marketing here at Digital Influence. So I wanted to get you in to have a great conversation around marketing, but also something specific that we do inside the business, which is our high performance reviews.
Yeah,
so,
I'm excited.
Yeah, because I think you've got some really good takeaways that business owners can learn from, and you've got some really good lessons that you've laid out here. But I guess, the first thing first, tell us a little bit about who you are, where you've come from, and what you love about what you're doing here.
Oh, okay. On the spot. I am actually recent graduate, so I studied at the University of Canterbury.
Nice.
Studied marketing, BCom, and then when I went to leave uni, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do, and the agency environment kind of stood out to me. It's fast paced, and I wanted to learn as much as I could about digital in particular. And then I came across Digital Influence, and now I'm doing all the marketing for our own brand and also helping out with the podcast, that sort of thing. And then I do have the privilege of being able to come in and help with the strategy sessions that we do for prospects or clients and stuff like that. So we sit down and brainstorm, what their goals are, where they want to be, and we try and look at how they can win. So, and then from that, I collaborate with the team and kind of organise a high performance review for them. So I've learned a lot through, having to work with the team on figuring out where businesses can win and stuff like that. So
what would you say if you look at like what you learned at university to what you learn, being on the tools and in the job? What's the major difference there? Is there any?
Yes. I can't say. I learned a lot at university that prepared me for digital marketing in particular. There's super limited courses at, when I studied there last year, in the last 3 years, there weren't really courses on digital marketing. So I really was thrown into this job. But in terms of, you learn work ethic and how to write properly and different things like that. Like there's so many skills that I did learn from my degree, but in terms of digital, I really was thrown into it here. And I learned so much every day.
That's one of the things I love employing people with degrees, because they do have a work ethic around learning how to study, how to research, how to train themselves well. And then we put people into training programs and constantly training. So you do find people with a degree or that kind of self-paced learning can pick stuff up really, really, really quickly. Yeah,
well, we are learning constantly here. We're always doing courses. We're always upskilling and everything like that. So, uni definitely prepared me for that and gave me somewhat of a love for it.
Yeah, true. The cool thing here, we've got a selection, just if you can see this on the table here, and if you're just listening on the podcast, we've got a sample of probably, I think there's about 20 reports in here, high performance reviews that we do. And one of the things I really take to heart at Digital Influence and probably really start to ramp up at the middle of this year was, design your marketing strategy to pick the tactics to produce the results you want. Because a lot of times people would come into us and we'd see businesses failing, and then we'd start to ask them, well, what's your strategy? Have you got a strategy? And they generally just say no, shrug, or have no clue. And what I kind of worked out along with the team here is, if you have a really good strategy in place around where you can win, then you've actually got a chance to win in the marketplace, right? So
yeah, totally. A lot of them are just running tactics just for the sake of it.
Just running tactics, right? And then when I talk about a tactic, they might be running search engine optimization, they might be doing Google ads, they might be doing a Facebook campaign, or they might be doing Instagram, but nothing actually glues it all together. So one of the things we're going to talk about today is our high performance reviews. And look, when I look at this and I look at where businesses can win, one of the things I really like what you put here is no two businesses are the same. So talk me through a little bit about that, because I think it's a good lesson for people to learn.
Yeah. So one of the biggest lessons I've learned is that no two businesses are exactly the same. So even businesses operating in the same industry, they've got a slightly different target audience. They've got different goals, different that sort of thing. So that's why we always start our high performance review processes with a 90-minute strategy session where we come in and talk to the business owners face to face, and it's pretty much just us asking a million questions. As many as we possibly can to pull out all of these little bits of gold and figure out where they want to be, what they're currently doing, what their goals are, all that sort of thing.
Because one of the key things here is looking for that gap, right? But looking for what makes them different. And generally it's in their people.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's in their product, but a lot of times it's in what makes them unique. Because like sometimes a plumbing company is as good as the other plumbing company. But sometimes it's that marketing, that little bit that you could market that makes you stand out and win. And I think that's the cool part about when you sit down and talk for 90 minutes, with people, you actually realize they come to realize that they are actually got some good stuff going.
And their business is unique.
Yeah, but they just haven't captured it in a unique way, right? They're doing everything the same as everyone else.
Yeah.
But then there's that little jewel that they talk to you about, and it's like, why don't you market that? And it's like, well, we've never thought of that, right?
Yeah.
So, it's very cool.
Because we don't want to give them a cookie cutter plan either.
No, and that's why all of these are completely different.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter whether you're Whitehead Plumbing, Copyland, Ray White, Silverstream, Valentine's is in here. There's some, there's some really key businesses, some big businesses, and also some businesses just starting out that we're developing something that can work for most businesses. So and developing something that's unique to that business, which is what I love about it too. Because I like when we talk about goals to businesses, and challenging them, what works for them, what doesn't work for them. And also, I know you've written some good notes here about discovering hidden opportunities. Yeah. Talk to us about that.
Well, I'm struggling to think of I can think of an example actually. So we recently were sitting down with a catering company here in Christchurch, and I remember we were chatting back and forth, asking a million questions about what a good customer looks like to them and everything like that. And we actually discovered that they do everything from corporate catering, weddings, parties, all that sort of stuff. But we discovered that weddings in particular were super time consuming for them. And they were dealing with, somewhat crazy brides sometimes who were always trying to check in and that sort of thing, but also not huge return. And so we ended up finding a hidden opportunity for them to kind of lean into that corporate market a bit more. It was reliable business that was coming in like reoccurring. They were booking in morning teas weekly or whatever for their staff, and they were easy, that sort of thing. So that is an example of a hidden opportunity that we kind of helped them. I mean, they kind of said it, but it was kind of us that was like, well, if that's what a good customer looks like to you, then why don't you lean into that a bit more and niche down a little bit?
And I think because one of the questions that you should ask yourself is, what is good business? But also what the flip side of that is, what is not good business, right? So asking yourself that question, what is good business for your business? And then people start to think, you can see them, they're starting to think, well, what is good business? And also then if you ask the opposite to that, which I think is a great question, what is not good business? People will automatically answer that one straight away, right? Everyone knows what's not good business, and that's where weddings come up. It sounds and looks good on the surface, but when you look at the profitability, you look at the time you're wasting, the time you're spending, it's actually not good business for the business. And I think that's when you're sitting down and eyeballing people face to face, you can have some really good answers to those questions. So no two businesses are the same. Is there anything else you want to talk about on that key lesson? And I think it's a really important one to realize as a business owner, it's okay. It's okay to be different. It's not okay not to be different. It doesn't mean that you're gonna you're gonna fail or you're gonna win. It really is the marketing of that thing that matters the most, right? Any other points on that one?
No, not really.
Cool. What about some of the around audience insights and really knowing who your customers are and what frustrates them? I think that's a big one when it comes to helping businesses as well.
Yeah, I mean, I guess in those strategy sessions we just work really hard to try and drill down and map out what their customers, what frustrates them, what do they care about, where do we need to get in front of them, that sort of thing. Because like a lot of the time, an ideal customer to them is B2B or something, but they're primarily advertising on, doing organic content or something on Facebook, but they're completely missing LinkedIn, which is a huge opportunity for that B2B space, and getting in front of those like corporate clients. So
what I also love about when we're doing this report, Valentine's, right? Everyone in Christchurch will probably know Valentine's, but when we're looking at audience insights, how many different audiences there are, and the messages. So then looking at the messages to those audiences, even like for a plumbing company like Whitehead Plumbing, you've got a whole bunch of different audiences with a different message for a different product. And a lot of times businesses, when they start running ads, they start running or marketing, they start running the same ads or the same story to everyone, right? So being able to align that and make recommendations is a really powerful one as well, because not every audience, like and this is an interesting one, and it's a good test to do. What you have in your news feed, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, is completely different to mine, right? You'd hope so, right?
Yeah.
And that's, why would you market the same?
Yeah.
You're talking to some people differently, and I think that's one of the things when you stop to think about the audience insights is a good lesson to really look at, okay, well, am I aligned here?
Yeah.
And a lot of times they're not.
Well, in that Whitehead Plumbing one, we were kind of mapping out their target audience, and it turned out that they had, I think, 3 different, segments in their target audience. I think it was, one of them was like the property developers, and one of them was the businesses, and then the other was residential. And you can't be running ads and different things,
different goals, different
completely
desires,
different, like
different
the way to get in front
running.
of them. Yeah,
so true. Okay, what's lesson number 2?
Lesson number 2 is the power of competitive analysis.
Yeah.
So understanding what your competitors are doing well and where they're falling short opens up opportunities for your business to stand out. So that's one of the things we look at in high performance reviews that we do for prospects or clients, getting kind of a behind the scenes look of what's working in the marketplace and what's not. Also, what's working for you as well is really important, because success leaves clues.
It does. And the key to this, though, so we've got, this is the 2 parts that we have to the whole high performance review and where you can win strategy. So people come in for 90 minutes, and we're going through a framework that we have for those 90 minutes. And then the team does a deep dive on the back end of that around a high performance review. So we look at everything that we've done in the past and benchmark it and go, okay. And one of the aspects of that is competitor review. And that, I just find that there's so, even today we had a company in today, and they were loving the competitor review. Like, where do we show up compared to our competitors? And it's a pretty cool thing to see, right?
Yeah. So an example of this would be, and I know we had this, but I think that the one that we were in with today was all of their competitors were missing out on using video content, which is a super engaging form of content. And so that's just one area that they can win instantly.
And also, like the industry that company's in, and I'm not going to mention it because it's relatively new, and we've only just done that side of it, with the strategy side of it. But you could take anyone else's logo on anyone else's website, it doesn't matter who they are, and put it on their logo, and you can put their logo on their logo, and they're all the same. That industry is open for someone to disrupt it, with actually, putting some people in front of camera, people putting in some nicer photos, some better copy, etc. And it's an industry that hasn't woken up to the power of marketing yet.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool to see that kind of playing out in front of your eyes. And video is a great way to do that. And look, go and analyze your competitors. One of the things you should just do, and it's one of the things we do in the report, is what are the competitors? What are their ads like? Go and look at their ads. Go and see what they're like. Are they getting comments on their ads? Have you read their Google reviews? Are the Google reviews any good? Go and read their Google reviews. There's so much information you can get from just being curious, So that's one of the things. You don't actually have to pay us to come and produce a 29, 28, sometimes 40-page report to find out what your competitors are up to. You can actually just do it yourself if you want to. But a competitor analysis is a goldmine, really is.
Yeah, but I mean, the competitor analysis isn't just about kind of looking at what they're doing well or anything. It's kind of also finding out like where you can stand out, like how you can stand out above them from things they're not doing.
Yeah. So true.
Yeah.
And like that can be real simple sometimes too. What's number 3? Focus on what you do best. I love this one. It's a great lesson. In a lot of businesses, even today in today's world, I think a lot of businesses don't focus enough on what they do best.
Yeah.
They're trying to do everything. They're trying to be everything to everyone.
Yeah.
So what's your takeaway there?
Well, I just feel like we've seen so many businesses thrive when they focus on what they do best. Trying to be everything to everyone just leads to burnout and diluted results because, everyone, why should people choose you over the competitor? You're giving them no unique reason or compelling call to action or anything to choose you over them. You look exactly the same. So, we always try and look to help businesses like identify their strengths and their unique selling propositions.
What do you do better than anyone else? What makes you king?
And leverage that.
Yeah, and lean into it, go deep into that, and really make that a winner for your business, right? Because
it also makes your reputation stronger as well because you kind of get known for, that thing that you do really well.
Yeah. And getting known for it is so important these days. It makes you easily to be referable if you're good at something, right?
Yeah.
Like if you need mag tires and you go to Mag and Turbo, right? Like it's a no-brainer. If you need a windscreen repaired, you go to Novus.
Yeah.
It's if you need marketing strategy, come to Digital Influence. Like we produce these reports for you, high performance reviews. So get known, ID your strengths. What else should people be doing? They should know, where does your team expertise shine the brightest. I think this is a great one that we've taken away from dealing with business owners.
Yeah, I mean, for example, we know that we're not website developers.
Yeah, true.
We have partners in that space that we refer all of our clients to, because that's not where our team's strengths are.
Yeah.
And we know we have expertise and we're really good at digital marketing and strategy and video and SEO and everything.
Yeah. And I think it's a really interesting one. If I go randomly, I'll pick one of this, like Travalis. This is a great example of where does your team's expertise shine, right? This one here, they've got a couple of really bright sparks in their business. And they, one of the things we found in their strategy session is we needed to leverage those key people to show that the company's doing a lot more on a broader level as well, right? And I think that was a big takeaway in that, being able to leverage key people so you can make your marketing go further and faster for your business. Yeah. I think another thing inside that, what did you focus on best, is what you've talked about here, is evaluate your customer base. Talk to me about that.
Well, that's kind of what we were talking about before, is like looking at what the most profitable customer is to you. What does an ideal customer look like to you? And you can kind of assess that by, how good they are to work with, how easy they are to work with, how profitable they are. What are some of the others?
I think it's
I feel like there's a framework for this.
Yeah, but just even that, what you've said, how easy are they to work with?
Yeah, that's huge.
You know straight away, like if someone's going to, I always say, people want their problem to become your problem, but they don't want to pay your problem price, right?
Yeah.
And I think as I've grown and grown and grown this business, you come across characters that are there and sent to test you, to basically see if you're holding fast on that, because you don't actually have to deal with everyone, and you actually need to know who you like doing business with. And it was interesting, like that catering company, know who they like doing business with.
Yes.
They actually know it. So
Yeah.
okay, when that other inquiry comes in, they can pass it on to someone else. Wedding inquiry comes in, just pass it on as a referral, right? And so getting clear on that is really, really key. And also understanding your numbers. Okay, what is the average lifetime value of that customer? Knowing that, knowing what a profitable customer is, and knowing what you should be selling your services or your product to those customers is really, really important. And that brings it down. What is the service that is most valuable? Like what is the service that actually is profitable for your business, because not every service will be profitable. And sometimes sometimes it takes someone from looking from the outside to realize, actually, why am I selling that product? And that was even with the printing firm that we looked at, they were probably selling some things that weren't as profitable as other things they could sell. And also then you find, well, actually, why aren't you selling that? Sell more of that, and sometimes it just takes another set of eyes to look over that.
Yeah. Sometimes people get stuck in, the traditional, like what they've always done kind of thing. And I mean, that's kind of why we've brought in doing strategy sessions and these high performance reviews, because we know that our clients and people need like an overarching strategy. They need all their marketing to tie and work together.
And I'd say, when I look at high performance review and strategy week and one strategy session, we've been doing that for years, but didn't really understand the true value of them until we started really getting into them more and more this year. But what I realized is you can't see the picture if you're standing inside the frame.
Yeah.
And this is the biggest takeaway I had. It was a blinding flash. It was like, people can't see their business because they're standing inside the business.
Yeah.
They're trying to look at the picture, but they're inside the frame, and it's really, really hard to see. Which was, for me was a blinding flash of obvious. And that's, I guess, even today when we're talking, we have part of that strategy session, people come back, we've produced a report, they come back and we talk about it. And you could tell, like, the person, and he thanked us, right? He was like, it's really good to be able to, just go through this and have someone on their team. And it was the quality of it. That's what I liked when you talked about the quality of the report was really, really high, which it is. Because part of, focus on what you do best, you got to clearly communicate that, right? So that was part of one of your lessons too. I thought it was a really good takeaway, because we go through this so much and so often with every customer. So talk to us about that.
Yeah, so that's just, I mean, once you've kind of identified what you do best and what you want to be known for and all that sort of stuff, you've got to, you can't just assume people are going to come knocking on your door knowing that. You've got to put it in front of them. And make sure your message is super cohesive across like all of your social platforms and your website and everything like that. All your marketing materials, so that, that's what people know you as, and
And I think this is one of the things that business owners find the hardest to do, because they can't settle on just one or two or three messages. You have one overall message and then two or three in social media. It starts to get disjointed, and because they get bored with it, and where you just have to.
They like to change it all the time.
Got to change it. And you got to have consistency of message. Plus frequency of reach to become relevant in that topic. And if you're changing it all the time, or you're not clearly communicating it, people don't know who you are. They don't know who you are. They don't know where you are. They don't know what you have to offer and why they should buy from you. So get really, really clear on your messaging, clearly communicate that across all these platforms, so that when people come to you, they look at your website, they look at your social media, they look at other things that you're doing, and they know exactly who you are and what you do. Yeah,
and why they should come to you.
Totally.
An example of that is this year with these strategy sessions and everything like that, and just working with our clients, we've brought in quite a few new processes around like making sure we've got a really strong strategy for all of our clients. And so we've identified that we take a strategy first approach with our clients. And so now we've, built up campaigns around having a strategy first approach, and we've updated our website messaging and everything like that. And everything kind of is tying back to that strategy first approach, so that people, that's the first thing they think of when they come across us, and they know they need to get in touch with us
Yeah.
because they take a strategy first approach. Yeah.
And it's interesting, I did 2 presentations the other day, and I probably said design your marketing strategy to pick the tactics to produce the results you want. I probably said it 12 times. And at the end I said, what's the theme? And someone actually said it back to me.
Yeah.
You know, and I was like, hey, we got it. You got to design your marketing strategy to pick the tactics to produce the results you want, not the other way around. And designing it is really, really important. You got to do thinking. That's the hard part, right? Let go of the rest. I like that point there. Talk to me about that point there.
Let go of the rest. That's pretty much just, you don't need to appeal to everyone. We know who we want to appeal to, and who we like working with, and who's good, good and profitable to work with. Yeah. So you don't need to please everyone, and you should, stay strong in that.
Yeah, and I think that's a big one for business owners. Like, just get clear on what is good business for you, who's good business for you, and let go of the rest. Like, we don't deal with corporates. A corporate will come along, and we just don't deal with corporates. We deal with mums and dads, business owners. We deal with a lot of bigger businesses, multi-location businesses, but they're not owned by a corporate. They're owned by the entrepreneur, and with a team, etc. So sometimes you just have to really, let go. Hey, so I like this one. This is a good lesson for a lot of businesses. Small changes can make a big impact. What was your lesson? What was your takeaway there?
Yeah, this one was surprising, but we like to kind of wrap up the high performance reviews that people get with some action steps. And there's always a lot of really small strategic changes that are super actionable for the business owner. That do actually create a big impact. Yeah. Like in terms of local SEO, for example, we often have businesses come in with either no Google business profile or a completely unoptimized Google business profile. And there's just so many quick wins with, a description, categories, reviews, like everything, and it would just move the needle pretty much immediately. And then we also do see a lot of businesses come in from industries that there's kind of no one in the industry is doing anything to do with digital, which is a no-brainer, because that's where a lot of it is trades and different things like that, and that's where everyone's searching for tradesmen and stuff like that is online.
So let's get specific around some of these small changes that are quite impactful. Like number one here you had on your notes, what I thought was really good, is social proof. Talk to me about that.
Well, so things like testimonials, case studies, examples of your work, just people need social proof these days. Yeah. They need, especially if your product or service is, the decision-making process isn't super short and easy. It's not, buying off Temu or, something like that. There's a bit of, they need to consider quite a few different things. That's where social proof comes in. Yeah. So
they want to be reassured in their buying decision that they're making a good decision. And I always say, get known by the success of your clients. Yeah. Get known by the success of people that do and spend money with you daily, weekly, monthly, right? Like, your social proof, it just adds to that level of, hey, someone else has made a good decision here, so if I make a good decision, it's going to be a good decision as well, right?
Yeah. They want to be reassured that you can do what they want you to do, and you can show them that through, client stories or client success stories and that sort of thing. They'll be able to see their business in your client's business that you're showcasing, and how we say, solved their pain points.
I think one of the good things you see and hear time and time again is even and when we're talking about it, like we talked about it last week with a couple, you need to show what you're doing, right? It's easy to tell people, right? But you need to show people what you're doing. Case study is a great way to do that, and so these guys were doing work for companies, and they want to do more of that work, but they had clients, but they just need case studies of that. Where so then other people can read those case studies. Oh, that's what we want to do as well. So getting caught in the act of what you want to do more of as well is really, really important. Getting caught in the act. And that comes through time and time again. I don't think people are using enough social proof in their marketing. And I think it's an area where most businesses could win. So definitely be looking at that in 2025, because You have to build trust. You have to build that credibility. We actually have to demonstrate credibility today.
And that when you talk about putting it in their, using it in their marketing more, we're talking about that needs to be on your website. It needs to be in your social media content. It needs to be in your advertising. Whether that be for like retargeting campaigns or anything like that. People need to see it to be able to make a decision. So it needs to be
reinforcing what we call second selling as well.
Yeah.
Number 2 here, you had clear calls to action. That was one of the small changes that are very, very impactful. It sounds really simple, but we'd be surprised. This is just a small sample of the reports we've got. It sounds super silly. It's not that obvious, right?
But you need to make it super obvious what you want your customers to do, what the action you want them to take is. And we see it time and time again when we're reviewing websites in particular. People either have a million call to actions on the website. It's like, call us. I mean, it's really good to have, you need to have your phone numbers and your emails and everything there so the person has it, but having 10 different forms and asking them to do all of the different things, you need to have a primary call to action that you have on the website that you're continuously trying to push the person to do on all the different pages and everything like that, so that they know exactly what you want them to do.
Get a quote, download now, schedule a demo. Be really clear on what you want them to do.
Guide them towards the conversion.
Yeah.
Because if there's too many options for them that you're asking them to do, they won't know where to start. And what do you always say? A confused mind never buys.
Never buys.
Yeah.
And if you give them too many options, Donald Miller said it best in his book, Building a Story Brand. When you make people make decisions and start to think that they consume calories, and it's real easy to just move away from that.
Yeah.
What about number 2 is simplify navigation? I thought this was really interesting. Even though we don't build websites, we have a really good understanding of what a good website looks like, etc.
Yeah, so that's just trying to make it as easy as possible for users to navigate your website and find what they're looking for. So if they're looking for a contact, if they're looking for, more information about specific services, or if they're looking for some of that social proof and case studies and different things, you want to make it super easy for them. So that would just be having a really streamlined menu bar at the top and making sure it's super clear. We had one recently that was I can't remember what exactly it was, but instead of having what they did, it was really confusing about what they did, and they used different language that was, it wasn't just about us or what we do. Right? It was trying to be really clever and very, maybe they were using language that they use in their industry, but I don't know. The target audience, I don't think it was very clear too. And
it was pretty obvious it wasn't, because they weren't getting the traction they wanted, right?
No, yeah. So it's just small fixes like that.
Think simple.
Yeah, you got to think really simple.
Which leads on to, we're going to skip to number 5 here, because I think it's important what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Is mobile optimization. Websites, the number of websites we see in these reports that just weren't mobile ready.
Yeah. So pretty much all of the businesses that we, have a look in the back end of their accounts and everything, all of their Google Analytics indicates that majority of their traffic is from mobile devices. Yet when doing speed tests on their website or anything like that, the mobile speed is typically really poor compared to the desktop speed, which is not good at all when majority of your visitors are coming through a mobile device. You just need to make sure your website loads quickly for mobile. It looks good on mobile. It's not sometimes mobile websites that aren't mobile friendly, they can be really long because they're built for a desktop and not mobile, and so they end up being super long and no one can find. That goes back to the simplify the navigation. People just can't find what they're looking for because they're having to scroll so far down.
One key there for me was it was a really kind of you have to build campaigns for mobile now. It's one of the things I always talk about all the time. Build campaigns for mobile. But one of the interesting things was looking at this company, and they were their mobile website was failing when it hit the contact page, and the reason for the contact page is they were asking all this information that no one would have on their website. They wanted to know your brand guidelines, they wanted to know your logo. No one would have on their phone. And if you just think about that yourself.
Yeah, they wanted people to upload files of their brand guidelines, logos, and everything. So
the campaigns they were running to mobile. We're then asking all this for all this information that you just never have on your mobile. If you're going to run that campaign, run it to a desktop or on desktop only, right? And it's just a little thinking like that. When you're spending money in a competitive market and every dollar needs to work hard for you, you need to design the strategy to pick the tactics to produce the results you want. Yeah. And it's little things like that, like they were just wasting money on.
Yeah.
Fix that, and all of a sudden, your streamlined approach, you ask for less at the start on a mobile, and you have a better engagement, you have better user experience, right?
That's such a good example of, it's such a simple change, but it's something that would have completely gone over the business owner's head, like what you were talking about, the standing in the frame.
Why is this not working?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just assuming that it's, because people don't want to be filling out the form. No, but
they're out.
Yeah, it just would have gone completely over their head, but you've really got to step into that customer's mind set and what they would, We often go in and we'll just actually fill out the forms on our different devices to see what the user experience is like. And if we, you just want to get rid of as much friction as you can in that process, because people will just bounce straight off the site
go somewhere else immediately. Go off to your competitors. Number 4, because I jumped ahead, refine headlines. Talk to me about that, because I think it's really, really cool. Even in not only in the website, but also in people's advertising, is once you know your message, you got to get people's attention, right?
Yeah. Well, that's kind of what we were talking about before, about, the example of that client that was using really just that weird industry technical language, and it just wasn't clear to the customer what they wanted them to do, what they were clicking on, what they were reading. So it's just making sure they grab attention and communicate the value that you have to offer immediately. So I guess that comes back into, knowing what your strengths are and making sure that that's cohesive and communicated really clearly. So that's through your headlines on your ads, headlines on your website, everything like that. Like you want people to know instantly what you have to offer and why they should choose you.
Yeah. So true. Well, but at 6 in here, you said communicate your value proposition. Talk to us about that, because you have some, when you're doing the reports, you're deep in them. Like, you're looking at everything after the strategy session. So, talk to me a bit about this, because you see it this time and time and time again, right?
That's just what we've been talking about. We dive deep into where a business can win and why they're unique and why people should choose you. And so you've just got to continuously communicate that. You need to communicate that in your video. You need to communicate that so clearly on your website over and over again, so that people aren't confused and they know exactly why to buy from you over competitors. So I've got here, highlight the benefits of your services and how they solve a problem or meet a need. For example, for that catering company, it might be emphasizing stress-free corporate catering on time, every time, because the target audience for that was that they were dealing with people who are trying to organize these corporate events, and they don't want to, they've got busy jobs. They don't want to be going back and forth and worrying about the catering every time. They just know they can rely on them. They know it's stress-free. They know it's set and forget. So that was kind of some of the messaging we came up for them when we identified that, those corporates was what they wanted to lean into. So yeah.
And really, when you get that right, you have got something to really market and go to the I guess to the market with, right? And be very, very clear that this is your value proposition. Yeah. This is actually where you can win. And I think, for me, where you can win came from when I was in my SEO days. And I vividly remember being in this doing a seminar in Wellington and then doing a strategy session with these people. And they were a recruitment company and they were going after immigration to New Zealand, and they were never going to win there because the government owned all those sites, you know.
Yeah.
And it was figuring out where they could win with their budget, with their you know, the assets that they have in their business. And that was the big takeaway for me, is getting clear on your value proposition, but then really dialing in about where you can win. Which was, you know, like, okay, the pros and cons of living in New Zealand, writing articles on that. All of a sudden you're going after a whole bunch of different keywords that not all your competitors are going after, because, you know, so it's just figuring out where you can win, and that's what I love about this process.
Yeah.
What else? Is there anything else that you've found? Any other lessons? I've got a couple.
Yeah, go for it.
Right, I've got a couple, and I've got this one here to back Sam and Sam Cherry and Damon Fahey, two great guys. One of the big takeaways I got from this one is you are actually standing as a business owner on a mountain of knowledge. You know, you when you meet these guys, you just realise standing on a mountain of knowledge, and you sometimes have to have a vehicle to get that knowledge out into the world, and this is what we're doing with them now, giving them a vehicle, because one of the biggest things I find from doing all this is lots and lots of businesses are sitting on the consumer side of social media.
Yeah.
They're not sitting on the producer side. Even the people we're talking to today.
Yeah.
You know, you can tell by the questions they're asking, they're sitting on the consumer side. You know, like, I don't care what my auntie thinks about Facebook. I don't care what my uncle thinks about LinkedIn. You know, what I do care about is the people that I can help get in front. You know, like Sam and Damien are good examples. They're going to help business owners sell their businesses in the future, right? So you don't want them sitting on social media consuming all the reasons why social media works or not works. I want you putting out content to help people, so that those people can make decisions on whether you're an expert or not. You know, and this is one of the biggest things I got from this is, the people that we've interviewed here, and it is an interview process at the end of the day, like we're going through and helping them and interviewing them, seeing where the gaps are. Everyone stands on a mountain of knowledge. And I think that's my wish for business owners in 2025 and beyond, is that you are standing on a mountain of knowledge. You're standing on a mountain of insights, as we'd say up here, influence through insights. You have a bunch of insights that you can actually help people with. It's time to share that, and it's time to share it in a way that markets your business, so that you are a producer of content, not just a consumer of content, in every business that is open for.
Yeah, well, with Damien and Sam, we kind of, when we were going back and forth asking them a million questions in those strategy sessions, we discovered that, you know, their target audience, which was retiring business owners who want to sell their business, they are full of concerns and... you know, they're fearful and they don't know what to expect, and they have a million unanswered questions that, you know, there's such a clear opportunity for Sam and Damien to kind of help educate that target market into making that, you know, not pushing them into that decision, but almost easing them into it by answering some of those frequently asked questions, or those should-know questions. Yeah,
exactly. And entering the conversation that people are already having, right, with your marketing, entering that conversation and actually being part of the helpful side, the useful and helpful side of that conversation, right?
It just pushes them a little bit further along in their decision journey, you know?
Yeah, so true. I'm going to pull up this one. Monster Music. Great guys. Got a great product, but they're brand new business. Was smart coming in and getting this done early in the business, which I thought was another good one. So it doesn't actually matter where you are in your business, whether you're just starting out or you're, you know, we've got how old was Valentine's? This 150, was it
150 years?
Yeah, like it's 170.
70.
And we had another one's got 55 years, and these guys are brand new, right? So it doesn't actually matter where you are in your business journey. Getting clear on the strategy is really, really important. And once again, it comes down to, okay, then this is the takeaway the lesson I want you to learn on here. It comes down to mindset. There's a growth-focused mindset business owner, and there's a fixed mindset owner. If you want to win in 2025, 26 and beyond, you have to have a growth-focused mindset. So a growth-focused mindset would invest in their business, invest in the thinking, the strategy first, right? Because one of the cool things, and these guys said it to us first as well, they're brand new businesses, but they're experienced guys. It's not their first rodeo, right? They're successful anyway, but this is they said, the questionnaire that you guys gave us was one of the best things we'd read. The questionnaire. So you get a questionnaire before you come into the strategy session. It actually makes people think about their business before they even get into the strategy session. And I think there was good takeaway from those guys who, even though they've got this as a startup, they're not a startup. They're very, very experienced. So the growth focused mindset really, really matters when it comes to marketing. And to the point where if you don't have a growth focused mindset, if you're fixed and you can't get your head around that, then this will sound bad coming from a marketing company, but don't spend money on marketing.
Yeah.
Because it'll just do your head in. But if you're growth focused and you want the challenge of growing, then thinking about strategy first is really, really important. I'm going to flip to another one. Actually, you pick one for me, and I'll talk about some of the lessons that I learned from this one. But here's the thing: it is about focusing on your business. It's about focusing on your business and the skills that you have inside your business, the people you have inside your business, and really understanding the point of difference that you have in the marketplace. Have you found one? Oh, this one here. Okay.
We're going with Squizify.
Squizify. So Squizify, Daniel and the team, John and the team. What a business. Fast growing business. I think they got named as one of the 12th Australian fast growing businesses. We've been working with them for a while now. One of the things I learned about this is when you're dealing with a product and service that can be simple, you have to get. It can be seen as simple, but you have to get it clear in your marketing as simple for people to understand and see how they can use it. Because what you're doing is you're taking an old way of doing something and putting it in a new way, right? Or marketing it it's a new way of doing something in an old industry, right? So market the problems. Be really, really clear around the problems that you solve and who you solve it for, because these guys have a really, really good product. They were just marketing it too broad, right? Getting clear on who you're marketing it to and the product that you have, the real problems that the product solves was clear, and so marketing that problem and that you're the solution to that problem, game changer.
Especially when, there's already an existing process for, food safety. It's a manual process, but why would you've got to give them a reason to change. Why should they use you? It's simplifying the process. It's making it quicker. It's that sort of thing. So I think
saving
people
money,
get stuck in advertising their product or service, but they should be advertising the pain points that it solves.
Yeah.
Or, the benefits it gives rather than the product or service. No one cares about what it is, what it does.
And also one of the things we noticed here is just the refining where the money's being spent was a good one as well. They were spending money in areas that weren't getting a return.
Yeah.
So spending money in the areas that are going to get you the best return is really, really important. And you don't know that till you start looking at the analytics. You don't start to see, there's a whole bunch of money here that's being spent that there's not really getting a return, or it could be put it just over here where there's more people that are looking for that, and all of a sudden you start to win again. So that was an interesting one. That's a long report. I think that was double-sided too, that one. It had the thud factor in it. And it's really cool to work with those guys now. They are growing that business like a rocket ship, which has been awesome to be part of that journey. Bronte, did you have any other things that you want to talk about when it comes to where you can win and strategy or high performance reviews? Your lessons, I really appreciate your lessons. You put a lot of time into those lessons.
Yeah, hopefully
I'm pretty sure the people listening have
helpful.
got a whole bunch of value. What would you say to someone sitting on the fence thinking about growing their business in 2025?
I would just encourage you to, take a wee look at what you're doing well, what you've done well this year, what hasn't gone so well this year, and going into 2025, I'd get really clear on an overarching strategy and making sure that all your the tactics that you're running and everything, are there for a reason, and they're all cohesive and working together, and for a broader,
Yeah.
reason.
Great advice.
So I'd encourage you to come in and have a chat with us. Maybe do a strategy session or a high performance review.
Yeah. But even what you just said at the start there is look at what, like we even did our own marketing. We
did this recently.
Yeah, we did our own marketing. We sat down. What are our strengths? What are our weaknesses? What are our opportunities? What are our threats? We spent actually probably about 4 hours doing it over a 2 week period. Split it up. And we came back, and now we've got a whole bunch of action steps that we're going to do because we realise, hey, we're not perfect. We want to be better. So we
wouldn't do these if they weren't. Yeah. We didn't believe in the value of them. We do this for ourselves as well.
So making them, challenging ourselves, where can we be better as well is really important. So even just doing that, you could sit down and do your strengths, do your weaknesses, do your opportunities, do your threats. If you want some help with that, do what Bronte said. Give us a call, 021-891-934. Let's have a chat. It's all you need to do. It just starts with a chat. You're one conversation away from growing your business. Hey, and look, we'll have an informal chat, and then if it's right for you to do a strategy session or a high performance review, then we'll invite you to do it, and we can book in a time in 2025 and really discuss what you want to do with your business and where you want to take it. So, Bronte, I really appreciate your time coming on the podcast. I know I put you on the spot, and I know it was the first time that you've come this side of the camera. So I really appreciate that you've come on to the podcast, because I know a lot of people are going to get this. It's going to come out in a couple of weeks in December. I hope for them that they're really listening to this, maybe lying on the beach or driving in the car to somewhere cool, and they start to think about their business in 2025 and what they can get from their marketing. And just remember,
it's a perfect time.
Yeah, you're one conversation away. We'd love to do a strategy session, high performance review. If that's up for you, just reach out to us. By the way, also, do me one favor, and that's share the podcast. It really does matter. It matters to me, it matters to Bronte. We get more and more people listening. We're constantly now up in the charts, More people are passing this on and sharing the podcast. So if you can, just do us a favor, share the podcast. And likewise, if you have any questions, tag us in on social media and comment, etc. We love engaging with the community as well. So, hey, thanks for your time. Have a great day, and talk to you really, really soon.